So to do this, I'm going to bring in a cylinder, and I'm going to use 22 vertices. So it's not going to be low poly. It's going to be relatively high poly. I'm going to take this and I'm going to rotate Y90 and scale it down and try to match the size of this. I'll go into wireframe, and I'm just going to try to match that outer ring. Now, if it doesn't fit, I'm going to take the reference image and I'm going to move it up a little bit, and I'll come back to here and we'll just get it as close as we can. That's pretty good. So in edit mode, I'm going to box select there, and I'm going to pull it to here. We'll try to go relatively quick so it doesn't take us too long, and so therefore we may deviate from the reference a little bit, and that's okay. I'm just going to scale it up. All right, so we got this part here, and I'm in one vertex selection so I can see my vertices. I find it a little bit easier to work that way while we're in wireframe. Wireframe, did I say? Wireframe. E and S, and scale down just a little bit. E and pull out to here. E and S, pull in. See, I'm just looking at that top vertex. E and come back to here. Don't worry about this ring right now. We're going to do that separately. I'm going to come to here. E and S will come out. And yeah, we'll just keep going. There. E and S and come down. E, let's come to here. E and S come up, and now for this part there's a space in between two equal sized things, so I'm just going to extrude all the way over to here, and we'll come back to that in a minute. E and S come down, extrude, very straightforward. E and S, E, E and S, to scale down to this piece, E, come over to here, and if you do find it's a little bit too wide, go Control plus to get the whole thing. Let's scale Shift X, so not in the X. Let's do that. Box select here to continue. E, come out to here and just scale it up to get that slant. E and come out to here. E and S. E to the end. And at this point we can't see what goes on inside there, so we'll deal with that in a bit. Okay, just came back to solid mode. All right, let's look from the front again, go back into wireframe, and let's deal with this. Okay, Control R to put an edge loop right in the middle, and Control B to bevel and pull and just have two lines. We'll pull them out to there. All right, that's going to be the end of that part. And then I'm going to press E and Alt S, and I'm going to pull. I'm holding down Shift so I move a bit slower, so I get that inner region. This is a separate piece. I will do that in just a moment. Let's just have a look at this. Okay, everything's going good, so let's come back here. Let's make this piece here, so let's go Control R to drop an edge loop in there, Control B and split it until we get to the edge, and let's do E Alt S again, but this time we're going to push, and it's going to come out like that. Alright, we'll come back to that in a bit. We missed this piece here, so let's have a look at that. And we'll just drop an edge loop in here. And actually, I think the way I'll do this is I'll just put an edge loop there, and Control R, I'll put another edge loop here, and then press 3 for face selection, and Shift Alt and click there, E Alt S, and am I pushing or pulling? I'm pushing to make it come out to there. And that piece will stay attached to the microscope as well as the thing tilts. That's the basic shape of that part. Let's just do the front here. All right, in face selection, number 3, select there, press I to inset, pull in a ways as thick as you want your telescope to be, and let's E to extrude, pull in, and let's just S to scale, make it a little bit more interesting by tilting it like that. Let's press E to extrude and pull back like that, and then let's press P and separate by selection, and that'll give us this piece, like the piece of glass or lens or whatever in there. We'll come back to that in a minute. Let's come to the back here, and in 3-face selection, let's select there. Let's press I to inset to make the eyepiece, and let's do the same kind of thing. Let's press E to extrude, come in, let's scale in a ways, something like that, and let's extrude back a little bit, and P to break that piece out, so we have that. Okay, let's save, and let's turn on the cavity shader to make it a bit more easy to see. And now let's go and do the beveling. I'm going to do it all by hand. So we're going to bevel that edge. Control B and pull, have 3. So roll your mouse up so you have 3 lines in there. Select these 2, Control B and pull, and just, you know, use however much you want. Just, you don't need to pull like that, or you don't have to have them super close. Just do something like that. That's going to look fine. And we need this back edge here to be beveled. Control B. We'll need a couple more edge loops in here, you'll see, but for now let's just do the sharp ones right there. For example, we'll need one in there, but let's skip that for the moment. This one, let's do both of them at the same time. Those 2, and press the period key to focus on that and sort of rotate around it. Control B and pull. Don't worry if you get a different size, it's not really going to matter. These 2 are the same piece, I believe, so might as well do all 4 of those. So hold down Shift and Alt, by the way, in order to get the whole edge. Control B and pull that one. This one we're going to do something different with, but we'll go ahead and bevel it anyhow. Control B, we'll do that. This one, we might as well do those 2 pieces. Very easy to do, just beveling the hard edges, and then it's done. Then we don't have a modifier on there to worry about later. I'll do this one here, and then we'll come back and I'll show you the extra stuff we'll have to add in. Control B, pull. This one, I want this to be kind of soft, so I'm going to make a bigger one. This would go on your eye, and you don't want it too sharp. And that one, we'll just do that. Let's shade smooth and see where we're at. You can see this funny stuff, but some of it's looking okay and some of it isn't, and that's because we need more edge loops. So we're going to Control R and slide an edge loop close to the front. It doesn't have to actually hit it, and that sort of corrects that. We'll come in here, we'll just keep sliding edge loops up, and you can see the light changing as I do that. So bring it close to there, and we'll do another one close to the back, and let's have a look. So far that's looking okay, it's looking better. Alright, so an edge loop up and an edge loop back, up and back. In here, we're going to need an edge loop up and back. And in here. Now let's have another look in solid view. It's debatable if you might want to put another couple, like an edge loop there. That clears that up. On these flat surfaces, you can also put edge loops. Some of them won't need it very much, and some of them will. I often bevel that edge, so I end up with the 3. So I've just manually, like I had one, then I brought one in this way and one down that way, so I end up with the 3. We're putting a subdivision on this in a bit, and that'll tighten it up as well. So let's just see where we're at here. I don't remember if I brought one in there. I think I may have. So, all right, let's just go up and down. And maybe for this one, instead of going up and down, I'll just bevel like I normally would. You could do it in one step like this with the 3, and that solves the problem there as well. And I'll do the same thing here. Control B. And for this one, I'm going to bring an edge loop in here. I could have just beveled it because I'm going to be bringing one down. And we're going to, not that, we're going to be bringing one up here. We're coming relatively close to make this kind of sharp. Like that. See how it's looking. And this needs a little bit of detail as well. So how about we just bevel that one? Okay, just like that. And how's it looking on the inside? Okay. This here might need one more bevel or one more edge loop just to tighten it up. Let's try control 1 for one subdivision. Now, these long stretches sometimes need a little bit more, so I'm actually going to drag one more down, and you can see it pushing as we do that. So then you just go back and decide if you feel you need more edge loops. You can try edge crease and see if that sharpens it up enough for you. Just adding a few more edges for support and looking at it to see if it looks bubbly or anything, but I think it's looking pretty good. We're not going to worry about the lenses right now. We're going to go on. All right, let's save our work. Let's go into wireframe and see where we're at. So we have this piece here, and that's where this is going to attach. So how about we go into the model, and I think maybe we'll just select all this and Shift S cursor to select it and bring the 3D cursor there so we can create this piece. And so it might look complicated. There it is, but it's really very simple to make. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm in object mode, so I'm going to bring in a plane, scale it down, and I'm going to pull it down to here and get the approximate size. Okay, just like that. All right, now I'm going to select this edge and this edge, and I'm going to look from the front again. I'm going to press E to extrude, and I'm going to pull it up to here, to pretty much the top of that, and I'm going to press SX and get that kind of angle. Let's just have a look at this. Now it's not wide enough, so I'm going to select it, and I'm going to press SY and scale it out. We're going to have to give this some thickness, and we'll give it thickness in, so just make it something like that. You can always adjust that. And then we're going to grab these two edges again. So I'm in edge selection number 2, selecting those edges. Look from the front, go into wireframe, and now with those edges selected, we're going to bevel this to make that curve. So Shift Control B and pull, and press C to clamp so that they don't overlap here, and then roll your mouse up a few times to get a nice curve like that. So this is what I have here. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a curve, as you can see down here. So I'm going to select that edge and that one I can just do Control B and pull. I don't need that many segments, so I'm going to go to 5. I've got 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm not really looking at the diagram and just making any kind of nice curve that I think I'm going to like. Now, do I want more of a curve? You know what, I might go for a little bit more of a curve. So I'm going to undo that, and I'm just going to pull and make it a nice curve like that. Okay, we're going to select the whole thing. Let's give it some thickness now. And to do that, let's press E and Alt S and push. That's going to bring it in close to the telescope. Something like that is a decent thickness for that piece of metal. Not that far off from what I've got. All right, very good. We should select this and Alt N, recalculate outside once in a while. You can even try a merge by distance. I got rid of 4 vertices. Okay, that would have caused problems in the next step, which is beveling. So I press 2 for edge selection, and we are going to click around all of these edges and make sure we get the whole thing, the inside and the outside, and it'll take a few clicks to do that. And we got this part here and this part we're just going to do by eye. So find a nice vantage point, make sure it's all selected, and then Control B, pull, but roll back so that we have just 3. And don't make it too big, just something like that. And shade smooth. Don't worry if the shading is off for the moment. We're going to do some more work on this. Let's look from the front and see it's lining up pretty good. We now want to create this hole, so we're going to do a Boolean. 3D cursor's right there, so let's bring in let's try a cylinder. The more vertices, the nicer the hole, so I'm going to go with 32. You can go with more, but that's all we're going to need. Rotate X 90, pull this down, get the size you think you like, go into solid view, and now let's, so we seem to be hitting the microscope. Let's see if we can figure out why that is. I couldn't tell you. Doesn't really matter, but I think what I'll do in this case, I might pull it down just a little bit. We're actually just hitting the ring. That's fine, because maybe the ring in mine was a little thinner. So let's just scale this in the Y and push it out, just like that. Okay, so we're going to do a Boolean with this. So let's take our main piece here and add a Boolean and difference. And with the eyedropper, let's select this and apply. Let's take this and just move it down. We're going to use it again. Don't freak out yet. It looks pretty ugly, but we got to do some work here. So in edge selection number 2, Shift Alt and click all around so that you get the entire circle. It's not the nicest Boolean. Let's Shift Alt or Shift and click that to delete it. But we can still bevel this by hand. We should be okay. Or you could try to clean it up if that's your thing. And if that's your thing, I certainly won't put you down for that. But we shouldn't have to. We should be able to come in here and go Control B and pull. And we've got 3. I may roll up one more just to make it a little bit nicer. And we'll come out. We will shade smooth again. And we're not done fixing this. But I think that's going to look okay. That's fine. And in fact, if we wanted to be truer to the diagram, we could. I still have all that selected. Well, not all of it, actually. I could Shift Alt. I could select those faces as well. We'd want those because I'm about to move this. All right, in wireframe, I can actually move it up a little bit. And so we're back exactly on the diagram, sort of exactly on the diagram. All right, let's. There's more to do on that, but let's just hang on. Let's grab the cylinder here and bring it up to here and scale it appropriately. And we're going to use this. So what do we need to do? If I look at this diagram here, let's. We'll look on that one. Let's focus on that. Okay, so this is what we want to do. We want to have a larger piece here. That's what we're seeing actually, and then it's going to get narrower to go through, and we'll do some work on that. So okay, that'll be fine. Where are we? Okay, so this thing, right? So the diameter is of this thing is the outer wheel. Where am I? Come back. There we go. Okay, so let's just look in solid view. So what we're going to do is we're going to come in here, and I think we need to just expand this or lengthen it a little bit. Let's scale this in the Y a little bit more like that. And then let's come in here, drop an edge loop in Control B and roll back so we just have the 2. And I'm going to bring it out so that what's outside of the orange there is going to be the knob itself. So let's say something like that. That's fine. E and Alt S and pull. And hold Shift if you want to move slower, and just do something like that. Make it look like a knob. All right, now we're going to bevel. So Shift Alt and click this edge and this edge. And this edge and this edge. And Control B and pull. There's 2. We want 3 in there like that. And we can shade smooth, but we will probably need to drop edge loops in on that side and that side to give it some more strength. So just roll back to 2 and do this kind of thing. And that's probably all we need to do for that, except we have a indentation in this. It's the design element, so we'll select both of these faces like that. And then we'll press I to inset, pull it in. I could be looking at the diagram, and I don't seem to be doing that. All right, that's good. That's okay anyhow. Yeah, let's do that. And then E to extrude and SY, scale to Y and pull, and just pull it in a little ways like that. Now we need to bevel again. So we're going to bevel this edge, and we probably are going to need to bevel that edge. And we'll do it on the other side as well. This edge and this edge. So Control B, pull, and we want to make sure that we have, there's 2. Actually, how many is that? 2, 3, like that. That should be okay. And if it's not, well, we may be putting on a an auto smooth in a moment. So let's leave that for the moment. And let's come on and do something else. Now, in this diagram, I've done in the modeling here, I can't seem to zoom in on that too well. There, this stuff here. Now, I would normally, I used to do that in modeling. I would do that in texturing, but in case you aren't going to do that in texturing and you don't care about polys and you want something else that looks cool, let's just have a look at that. So let's zoom in and focus on that, and I'll fix that up in a bit. I think the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to, let's do this, let's mirror it. Let's put an edge loop there, and let's look from where? The side, and just delete this stuff here. And let's make sure the 3D cursor is right in the middle. So let's select this edge, Shift S, cursor to selected, bring the cursor there, and mirror this in the Y, and turn on clipping, and then we can go back and do it on one side, and it'll be on the other. This is one way of doing it anyhow. Shift Alt and click there. Actually Shift D and scale it out. P to break it out, so that'll be mirrored. Okay, there, that's what we want. Press I twice, I, and hold Shift and pull in a little bit. We have this. E and Alt S and push. Not too much. So we'll have that, and then come back and Shift Alt and click this edge and this edge, and press E and S and bring it in, and then take the whole thing and scale it in so that it's kind of pushed in like that. All right, doesn't look too good. Let's just make sure that everything's facing the right way, and M merge by distance. No, okay. And then we can add a bevel to that, and you can add more bevels if you want. Depends how close you're going to get and how many polys you want. I'm going to do 2. And that is the effect that we get, and it is on both sides. And we can actually just go ahead and apply that mirror. We can apply this mirror as well. Come in here, get rid of this extra edge, dissolve edges, and have a look at this. This has got a bevel on it, and I'm going to apply the bevel, and I'm going to Control J and join it on here. And once and for all, let's just take this and go I to inset. That'll clear that up, and do it on the other side as well. And even if it's not exactly equal to size, that's okay. So we have our knob in there, and this I'll show you just real quick. We'll put on a weighted normal, and normal's auto smooth, and that'll take care of that. So that piece is looking just fine. There is, however, a bolt that we're missing, so we can use this circle. Let's just use that one. Shift D to duplicate, pull it up, P to break it out. Take that and extrude it back a little bit, but get rid of the back face. Take this face here and Control B to bevel, just with the 3. Let's pull it in, and then we'll get the position and the size of that. I often will reuse circles and stuff like that, and that's gonna look okay there. So let's mirror it. We still have a 3D cursor was in the middle of that, should be good. So let's just take that and set the origin to the 3D cursor and mirror it and see how she looks. Over here. I think it looks fine, so I'm going to apply that mirror, and I'm going to take that and that, and I'm going to join those. And I'm going to join those. Yes, I am. A lot of this stuff would just be metal or the same color, so I don't mind joining things. I won't join it to the main body there. I guess the last thing is we'll come up to here. You can see I did another design on there. The way I'm going to do this one is I'm going to Shift Alt and click all those faces and bring my 3D cursor there now. And I'm going to bring in another circle, but this one I'm going to make higher poly. I'm going to double that to 64. Go into edit mode and scale it down, and then rotate Y90. I didn't do that right. Rotate a Y90, scale it down, so it's a lot of vertices. This is why you should do this in texture, not in. But I've done this in geometry, so that kind of thing like that. All right, 3 for face selection. Press I. You only have to press it once because we did I before. Otherwise, you do twice. Just make little spaces. E and Alt S and push. No, this one's going to be pull. Not too much. Just, something like that. Okay, and then grab the edges again. So press 2 for edge selection. In fact, I think I need to make it a bit bigger. I wasn't sure, so let's just go ahead and make it bigger. And give yourself lots of room. E and S and pull, and then take the whole thing and just S and just embed it. And then you can always go SX and spread it out if you need to. So to make it more visible, you can add a bevel, and I will up that to 2. And yeah, and for me, I'm just going to go ahead and apply that bevel, and I'm going to see that's got a subdivision on. I'm not going to join it at this point. I'm not sure if I will join it at all. So, I mean, it's certainly coming up in polys. We're at 40,000, but that's the main part. And, you know, we've already got a subdivision on as well. We got some cool looking detail. All right, so let's carry on here. There is another piece we need to put in the middle here. We need this piece here that comes down, and then the rest is okay to do this one tricky thing. So, all right, so let's do that. So my 3D cursor is there. So let's find something that's good, like this thing. Control L to select what's linked. That'll be symmetrical. So let's just bring the 3D cursor there. In fact, we could. Now let's bring in a new circle. All right, we're going to bring in a circle. I don't need 64, though. I could probably get away with 18, to tell you the truth. And why would I lie to you? I'm just going to bring it up out of the way and go into edit mode. And or it was in edit mode. And I'm going to rotate X90. Now, I got to do this. Not really on the diagram. I can see it through the keyhole there just a little bit. So yeah, I suppose you could use that. I'm going to bring it up like that. And what we want to do is, let me have a look at this over here. Oh, you know what? I'm going to bring that a little closer. Why not, eh? Yeah, okay, so that's going to go through it. That's what I just wanted to make sure of. We may actually have to make this a little bit bigger. So, but at any rate, I'm going to go into wireframe in front view and focus on that with the period key. I'm going to delete the bottom ones here and just leave these which are kind of going down straight. I'm going to take these and I'm going to extrude them down. I just want to come down through there, and I want to see if it looks like that piece goes through. And it does look like it just barely goes through, and that makes me happy. I'm going to take this and have to make a face. And I could solidify evenly, but I'm not too worried. I'm just going to bring it out here. Look from the side and give this some thickness. There's my center point there, so I'm going to just extrude it out like this and pretty much eyeball that. Okay, so what are we doing? Where are we coming? We are coming down through this and then to that piece. So we need to go down a little bit. We need to take this face here. We need to pull it down through. We're going to delete that face. I'm actually going to make this a little wider. I'm going to scale this in the X a bit. I'll change the curvature ever so slightly, but that should be okay, just to give it more room for this piece. Or I can make that narrower. But all right, in edge selection, Shift Alt to click those edges, and let's bevel this. Control B, and feel free to add another segment or so and shade smooth, and that is good. So let's assume that this is pretty much central, and we can actually move it a little bit if we want to. Yeah, because if I take it, you see my Z arrow here, I can move it just ever so slightly so the Z arrow points on the Z. That's good enough. There are ways to center things, but we don't have to worry too much. Let's select that and Shift S, cursor to select it. Bring the 3D cursor right there for our next piece, which is going to be this right here. I'm going to use a UV sphere for that. So I'm going to bring in a UV sphere, and let's make it 16 and 10. How about that? So it's not too high poly, not too low poly. And let's bring it down here actually. And we'll go into wireframe and we'll box select the bottom and we will delete those vertices. Pull it down here, scale it like that, pretty much like that. I might scale it in the Z a little bit to flatten it. We're going to be getting rid of that. Wait, make sure it's the center one. We are going to get rid of that one. There we go. And in edge selection, we're going to select that edge there. Okay, it's not quite big enough, so let's just extrude up anyhow. Take the whole thing and let's scale Shift Z. Let's do that. Make it a bit. That's all. These things always off the diagram just a little bit. We're going to have to make it bigger because this piece has to connect. So let's do this. What should we do? Let's just scale the whole thing bigger like that and pull. Let's see, what do we want to pull it up? Let's look in wireframe. That's going to be there. I'm going to leave that there, and I'm going to come over to this piece and I'm going to pull that one down. And we'll come back to the UV sphere, and we'll take this edge and just F to make a face, and Control B to bevel, and I can just do it with just 3. And to be quite honest with you, I would like that a little wider than this. So the way I'll handle that is I will Shift Alt and click here. Actually, I'll start here. I'll select that, Control plus to increase my selection or grow my selection. I'm going to keep doing that until I get to there, and I'm going to Scale Shift Z and just make it a little bit wider, and I will be more happy with that. I'll shade smooth that thing. In fact, I will end up with this with one subdivision, and probably put an edge loop down there, not too tight. All right, looks close enough to what we had there, and I'm happy with that. There's another piece underneath that, another round piece, and then we get to this fun stuff, and then we're pretty much done. So the way we'll handle that is we'll take this, Shift D to duplicate it, we'll pull it down, P to break it out for now, take that and give it some thickness like this, and we're going to come in E and S and just come in however much you want. E and S come in. All right, so we have that, and then we can select these edges and Control B with 3. We already have a subdivision on. We'll do that, and I might just make this a little bit wider so it looks like it's an actual thing. Now you can go up to 2 subdivisions if you want it like perfectly smooth, but no one's ever going to see that, so that's good. Yeah. I may close this off. I can't remember if I need to or not. I'm just going to do that. Make a face there. In fact, we're probably going to need this a little thicker. I'm not really looking at the diagram right now. We're going to need, because these pieces are going to attach to it, and we're a little off the diagram. What I may do is I may take this and this and move them up like this, so that these pieces can join onto here. So again, I'm a little off the diagram, but still gonna look okay. I think I can even, if I wanted to, I could even take this and shorten that down. I know the curvature is a little bit off, but just so you can see the neck of that there. Okay, so this is the part that we need to handle now. What I've got are these curved-like structures, and this is why I gave you this picture as well, so we could look at this a little bit better. All right, so we have a curve here and a curve there. It's all one piece, and there's 3 of them at 120 degrees around that circle, and then there's a bolt kind of thing in there, and then these hooks. So what we need to create is this thing. We probably won't get the exact width, but we're going to get something that looks really cool as far as I'm concerned. So that thing is our center thing, our main goal. So I'm going to select it and bring the 3D cursor right there. All right, so this is the piece here. There's a curve here, a curve there, and then it's joined underneath there. So we need to do the curves. So we're going to use a circle, and we're going to use 18 vertices is fine with me. Scale it down, and I'm going to just bring it out somewhere so we can work on that thing, and should be able to focus on that. There we go. Okay, the orientation, I'm going to want this to rotate Y90 like that. And the curve is going to be at the bottom, so we're going to box select all these guys and delete them, and take these and extrude up a little bit. Now we will look here. Wow, I really extruded up, and the whole thing is actually obviously too big. So let's just do this. Let's grab this and bring it and just pull it here. Okay, and I'm in wireframe, so I can do that and pull these kind of like there. And that's not bad for what I want to start to do. Okay, so I'm going to F to make a face, and I'm going to extrude like this, and just keep looking at the thing. Okay, that's basically what I want. And what I think I will do is 3D cursors there. Set the origin 3D cursor. Let's mirror, and we're pretty close to what I want. And this is the other bar, so that's okay like that. All right. All right, so now what we're going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to extrude up a little ways so that this piece can attach, and I'll do that right now. Let's make sure we have clipping on and extrude into the middle, and then X faces, get rid of those faces. And we have the basis of what we want. We're getting there. And now I'm going to select this piece and this piece, and we are going to extrude out further to make the rest of how that thing's going to join. It's basically going to look like this. I don't have a top-down view to show you, so just kind of, let's see if we can use this to get a sense of how long it's going to be. Maybe twice the distance of the curve, if that makes sense. And that's almost it, really. I may come out just a little bit more, and I'm going to get rid of those faces. And I think I'm going to be happy with that. I hope I am. Yeah, why not? Let's take the whole thing and pull it in and just kind of imagine that that's there. And there were 3 of them going around. Yeah, because that was pushed in. I'm gonna lengthen it a little bit. I'm gonna select these edges and I'm gonna pull them just a little bit more. I'm gonna take the whole thing and I'm gonna push it in like that. And I'm going to live with that. So I'm going to apply the mirror, and I'm going to come back in here, and I'm going to get rid of this center edge. Don't need that. And let's try, we're going to try a bevel modifier. I'll bring it up to 3, and this be 0.01, but I know I'm going to lose bevel in just a moment, so I'm not going to worry about the bubbliness of it yet, because do I need to put a hole in it? Do I need, or can I just push those through? Let's see. Let's think about that. You don't really need a hole. You could easily fake it. Why would you do a hole, right? So if that's the case, then I may see if I can get away with like a really small bevel, so I just have something on there. I could try arc here. That's a little bit better. Yeah. All right. If that was the case there, let me just try with this weighted normal, and normal's auto smooth. Clears it up. I think that's going to be okay. You know, you could use more vertices if you wanted. I'm going to go ahead and apply that bevel and let it just be. Okay, now we need to put a bolt. Let's select something like that. Shift S, cursor is selected. It's close to where we want it to be. And we're going to do a cylinder type thing. So let's bring in a cylinder, and let's go for just 18 vertices. Scale it down. Rotate Y90, and we'll get it to kind of work. Let's scale that in the X and pull it out. Let's see. It's going to come to about there, and then it's going to get narrower for those, and then we're going to extrude out to there. I just want to see how it looks. I kind of want it down here. So if I do that, you know, we'll be off the diagram a little bit, because maybe this thing actually, yeah, hang on a second. This thing has got to be more central, like that. We're close. Close enough. Okay, I'm going to take this though and scale Shift X a little bit smaller. Okay, yeah, I'll just live with it. I think I'll do one side and then the other, so I'm going to mirror this, or one side and not the other. How about that? So I'll do that, and then I'll put on a mirror in the X. I'll turn on clipping, and then I can come in and do the rest of the stuff that I want to do. I'll go to wireframe. So what do I want to do? Under here, you can't really see it, but I'm going to make this thinner. I'm going to press E and S and come down a little ways. E. I'm going to come out to here, and I'm going to push it all the way to the end. We'll put a bolt on there in a second, and we'll go into solid view, and I'm going to press 3 for face selection, and I'm going to round this off as if it's a bolt, and I'll put a few segments in there. And I don't want this sharp like that, so I'm going to take that and I'm going to bevel, and I just want 3 segments. And to be complete, I might bevel that as well. And we'll have that. Let's shade smooth and see where we're at. So we got it on both sides. We'll have that thing there. So let's go ahead and let's select here. Bring the 3D cursor there, And then we can bring in a circle with 6 sides to make our hexagonal bolt. Scale it down, F to make face, rotate Y 90, scale. I'm not looking at the diagram quite yet. Oops. Move it back a bit. I'm just going to go ahead and extrude it and give it some thickness, and then we'll come back to here. All right, so where are we at? This thing here. I'm going to scale this in the X. The only thing is I want to make sure we're not hitting. I was just imagining it was hitting there. All right, whatever. With all those edges selected in 2 edge selection, I'm going to Control B to bevel, pull, and I want to roll back to 2, 3. So I want that. I can shade smooth that. Any shading errors we'll deal with in a bit. I'm going to be joining that to this in a moment, or maybe I'm going to be doing that right now. I'm going to do it right now. I can always move it. The mirror will put it on the other side as well, as you can see. Let's not forget to save. On the inside of this, there's some thread and it gets a little thinner. So what we could do is we could come to here, and then I can select these faces, E and Alt S, and pull to make them come down. So I have one of those. And then, you know, you could just drag an edge loop to here. No, actually, I'll do them separately. I'll just do them, you know, kind of the chunky, not exact way. I'm just putting edge loops at the edges of this, and then in face selection, I'm going to grab that and that. Shift Alt to click. E and Alt S. It's so small, it's not going to matter if it's slightly different diameter. And then we'll have to put in some bevels. So we'll do that. We'll bevel here, and that will help with 3. I'll drag an edge loop in here. That'll clear up. You can see it on this side in real time changing. And then I'll grab these edges for the sort of thread, and I'll sort of turn it so you can see here too. And Control B and pull, and just do that. Looks like I'm going to need an edge loop in here. Drag it in, and here, and probably one here. That's looking good. Maybe one here. And I think that probably is good enough. Is it? Yeah, sure is. Yeah, okay. You know, if you like that effect. I don't know. Actually, yeah, do I need one more? No, I don't. No way I would. All right, and I think I can actually apply the mirror on this. I'm going to do that. I'll come in and I'll get rid of this. God knows I've added enough edge loops. In fact, I put one in there, yeah. Okay. All right, we are close. We are close. We got to do this part here, these connecting things. And my 3D cursor's right there, and that's fine. And by the way, how many vertices is this? Can I just use this? I think I can. So I'm going to Shift D to duplicate and scale and pull into here. And I'm going to be using that P to break it out, though. And let's look from the side. And I'm going to want to get rid of the bottom vertices, and then I'll get rid of the face, and that's fine. I just want this. I want this one and this one. And I'm going to extrude down just to get it started. All right. Let's look from the front. And yeah, okay. So I'm going to take these and I'm going to pull them up a little bit. And that's going to be pretty much fine. Let's take that and just have to make a face, E to extrude and pull it out to make that piece in there. And that's roughly how that's going to go. I would probably be happy with that. Let's get rid of that. And I just, for brevity, I'm going to pull it up a bit more, and I'm going to pull this edge down just a little bit more. Okay, let's bevel. Grab these edges on the outside and Control B, pull. I probably only need 3, and shade smooth. I probably would actually Control 1 that, put a subdivision on there. All right, and then I'm going to come in here and select this edge for my next piece. Bring my 3D cursor right there. I'm going to make these poles, and then we'll angle them, and then we'll be done. All right, it is on an angle, so there's not much I can do. I'm going to bring in a new cylinder. I'll go with 18 vertices. I'm going to scale it down and pull it down so that that can attach. I'll make it a bit bigger. Let's just see how it looks on the diagram. Again, because it's curved, I can't really do much to get it exact, which is my excuse. I'm going to take that face and bevel it. like that, and then I'm going to take this face, look from the front, and E and S, bring it in a little way so it looks like it's the right size, and then just extrude it down. And I'm just going to extrude down as far as I want, because these are curved, and so it's hard to know how far to go. I'm going to end that piece with a Control B and bevel it like that, and we'll see if we can just shade smooth if we need anything else. We will, of course, up here. So we'll come in here and grab this edge here. I'm going to press the period key to focus on that. I will Control B with 3, and I will do the same here, and that should clear up everything for us. Yeah, looks a little thick to me, but I think it's going to be okay. I hope so. Yeah, all right, so let's live with it. So how about we do this? Let's select this whole chunky thing and Shift S, cursor to select it. By the way, merge by distance. No, nothing to merge. Okay. And let's take this, and that doesn't have a subdivision. Let's apply that subdivision and take this and join them. And then set the origin to the 3D cursor, and let's mirror that over and be happy about it. Okay, we're going to rotate these in just a moment, but first we're going to do that bottom piece. And I can extend these if I want them longer, but I don't know that I do. Maybe I do. So it's mirroring. Okay, all right, whatever. We'll do that. And then let's do this last piece here. And then if you want to put the piece of wood in the middle, you certainly can. Where am I? Okay. 3D cursor is there, so let's bring in a plane. Scale it down a bit and pull it down and focus on that. Scale it down. We're going to rotate X90. Scale it in the Z. I'll go into wireframes, get the approximate size. I can grab that edge and pull it up. And I'm going to take it and pull it out to where I think is the front. Could be the back, I suppose. Not too far out, just out in front like that. And I'm going to select this edge and E to extrude. I'm going to pull it in, and F to make a face. And then I'm just going to kind of massage this and get it to, you know, kind of be semi-equal. Look from the side too, that wouldn't kill anybody. All right, how about that? All right, now I'm going to take these edges here, and I'm going to give them quite a good bevel. Control B, I'm going to pull. I want it nice and round, something like that. Roll my mouse up so I have 5. Take the whole thing, and maybe I'll scale it in a little bit. And then E and Alt S and pull till it almost makes contact. And then you can adjust it if you need that. That's okay, actually, with me. And I'm going to take all these edges in Edge Selection, Shift and Alt and click, and then Control B and pull, but I only need 3. So go back to 3. Shade smooth. Deal with shading it a bit if need be. That ought to do. And there is a little bolt on there, so we can, what can we do? You got something we can use? Sure. Really, I would want it on the right side, but it just depends how you look at it. So I'm going to take this, and I'm going to take that bolt there, and I'm going to Shift D to duplicate it, pull it down, P to break it out from that object. Got that. Focus on that, and I'm going to bring it up. And I'm just going to wing this one here, and I'm going to take it to there. I'm going to press E to extrude, E and S, and come in a little ways to make the post, E and come in till it touches, and then I'm going to delete that back face. And then in Edge Selection, I'm going to grab those edges and Control B to bevel them with 3. And I'll do the same thing on this one. 3. And that should be fine as that. And maybe I'll pull it out a bit. And then there's little bolts on the other side, so I'll take that circle, Shift D to duplicate it, pull it out, scale it in, and look from the side, and just move it up a bit, scale it down a bit more, extrude it back, but get rid of that back face. Take this face and bevel 3 or 4, whatever, or 5 if you prefer. I have it attached to that, so that's okay. I'm just going to pull it in and do something like that, and then look from the side, and just Shift D to duplicate it and pull it down. So we have that. And these I'm going to attach to this anyways, Control J, and don't forget to save. And I will be attaching all of this anyhow. So I just want to make sure I have a mirror on something. I guess on these, so I'm going to apply that mirror. And this is going to join. And let me double check and let me see what's joined and what isn't. So those things to move, and that's going to stay put. We're close to being ready to do this now. So yeah, let's rotate this. So let's select this as our main pivot type thing. Bring the 3D cursor there and set this to 3D cursor, and take these and look from the side. And yeah, let's just rotate and, you know, give it some kind of a rotation. I don't know how many degrees that was. I don't really care. And then what we'll do is we'll take this and we'll Shift S cursor to selected. That's now the 3D pivot. And I'll take this piece here. I really can join everything, however. So I could take all of these and just Control J. It'll be a little bit of a hassle to unwrap this, trust me. And I think I mentioned that in my video. Yeah, so let's just do that, and then let's, that's the pivot, Shift D, rotate 120, Shift D, rotate 120, and lo and behold, we are done. You could put something hanging on there. You could put little spikes on these. Let's get rid of that. I don't want that anymore. Let's save. Let's take this thing and just generally get it up to the surface here. Let's Shift C to bring the 3D cursor there. Let's make sure nothing is flipped. Oh, tons of stuff is flipped. Let's see if I can select everything and Alt 10 recalculate outside. The only thing is that flips my lenses, which are just, you know, flat plane. Oh, only did one of them. All right, let's, we've done that, so that's good. Let's also come in here and merge by distance. I got rid of 1,500 vertices. Excellent. All right, let's turn on shadow. Let's come to, I'm going to use the red one. I know it's a bit hard on your eyes. It's just, it really shows the shadows and the smoothness. I just want to have a look at everything. And I think it's looking pretty good. Nothing is standing out right obviously to me. You know, you could put some of that, some other detail on there, but I'm not crazy about this. I don't even know that that was necessary, but it gives a little bit of something to it if you're looking from this point of view. And finally, if you wanted to rotate this, just, you know, get something central like this. And bring your 3D cursor there and have it as the pivot, and then make sure you've got everything on here selected. If there's another piece that you're missing, like these lenses, they're not going to go for the ride. Then you can just do this, make sure, you see, like that. Do I got everything? Yeah, but what do I got? I thought I saw something moving down below. No. All right, good. Look from the front and then just rotate and look up at the stars. All right. So there she is. Final thing, if you want, you can come to the matte caps and switch to object and switch this to this silver one, and then you can color it if you want to. Just make sure you've got something selected. Come to the object properties, scroll down to viewport display, change that to the color of your liking. Something like, I don't know, let's say it was that, and grab the hex, Control C, and then unfortunately you can't select more than one. Here, I better turn that on. Yeah, I think you pretty much have to come in here and Control V on each piece that you want to have that color on. You know, that kind of a thing. And you can do that to all the pieces if that's the color that you like. And if you want to do the lens a little bit differently, you can choose a color, and you can, in the RGB here, you can drop the alpha a bit and look a little bit like glass, and, you know, just as a concept type thing. But that is the model, and I know we all want to see how how many polys. So okay, 60,000. You could certainly reduce some, and yeah, but that's it. So hopefully that was interesting and not too crazy for you, and maybe you'll build yourself a cool little telescope. Great, thanks for watching. See you next time.